All right, everybody. Happy Sunday night. Welcome to Music on the Menu on the River. Alan K. Stat with us. I always am. Sunday nights, 9 to 10 o'clock, bringing you regional artists doing their own original material from right here in northeastern Pennsylvania. How you doing, D.C. Taylor? Good to see you, my friend.
Good, Alan. How's it going?
I'm doing just dandy. And, you know, we've got a real special guest in the studio with us tonight. Michelle Riley is here, who I got to know Michelle about a year and a half ago. Did an article about you for the newspaper, actually.
Yeah.
And, you know, since then we've bumped into each other at a lot of music events, and
we have
realized we have a lot in common with music. And now you are basically the principal organizer of a special event that's coming up on Thursday night at Genetti's in Wilkes-Barre, the
Jammin' for Jerry. Absolutely.
Jerry Hludzik, legendary figure here from northeastern Pennsylvania, member of Dakota and the Buoys, has had some health issues, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the show. Basically, he's had some issues with memory, and it's affected his life. And so a lot of people are getting together for Jerry on Thursday night, and you're the one behind it. You know, how did you get behind it? What was it that made, you know these guys?
Yeah,
right?
Funny story. Several months back, Bill Kelly called me from Nashville, Tennessee, and
Bill from the Buoys in Dakota.
Absolutely, from the Buoys in Dakota. So he's been in Nashville for a very long time. And he's been talking about Jerry and this condition, and he's also been talking about the book that he's writing and how he calls Jerry from time to time, you know, pick at his memory. And so finally one day, I guess, you know, just again, a few months back, he said, it's time to do something. I really have to help the family. I have to help Jerry. It's getting progressively worse rather quickly. So let's do something. And I say yes to everything I'm asked to do a lot of fundraisers. And I said, all right, let's put a fundraiser together here. And so it began.
That was it.
That was
like in January we talked about it, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it just quickly grew and grew and grew into the most amazing.
And now who do you got on the lineup? We'll talk about it. You know, we're going to have Bill Kelly's calling in shortly too. So, but right at the top of the show, who's playing?
So first of all, we're going to start off the show with the Idle Kings. So the Idle Kings are a local tribute band. Mm-hmm. They're going to do a set of Journey to start the night.
Okay.
And you know that Mark Wanko from Stonebridge is in there. He's also going to be reuniting later on in the show with another Stonebridge member, do a couple of those tunes. We have almost a full band reunion with Archangel. So Archangel's coming, which is
huge band.
Super cool. They were big here back in the late 80s, early 90s. These are the cover bands that used to like bring them in, pack them in like 700 people on any given Friday, Saturday night. We've got Strawberry Jam. We've got Flaxie Morgan. We have Daddy-O and the Sax Maniacs. The cool thing, we have a special guest appearance from Danny Serafin of Chicago, legendary drummer, Hall of Famer, you know, rock and roll Hall of Famer. So he'll be doing some Chicago tunes using the brass section of Daddy-O, which is super cool. And of course, members of the Buoys in Dakota. So they're going to be doing some of those old tunes like Timothy and Give Up Your Guns, and it's just some really, really cool performances. Jerry Hludzik's going to try to take the stage. His son Eli is a drummer. He'll be on the stage as well.
So a lot to look forward to Thursday night at Genetti's. We're going to have Bill Kelly calling in shortly to talk a little bit about his relationship with Jerry and their music. And then at the end of the show, we're going to bring Michelle back to talk a little bit more about the benefit. But let's get some music on. This is a great tune that Jerry did, a solo record back in 2009. It's called All for the Better.
For all the times that we have fallen and the times we'll lose our way, that makes us strong to go the distance and to face another day. It starts with courage and conviction, then your faith will light your way. So don't be afraid, it'll all work out for the better. I know that I have some doubts, don't we all from time to time? But better days are on the way. 'Cause there's a sense of hope, I can feel it in the air. Winds of change are bound to come. So I stand my ground, I'm in it for the long run. Even when I think I can't go on. For all the times that we have fallen and the times we'll lose our way. That makes us strong to go the distance and to face another day. Starts with courage and conviction, then your faith will light your way. So don't be afraid, it'll all work out for the better. In these times of great uncertainty, we sometimes lose our way, and it's a long way home. But it's gonna be alright, it's gonna be okay. I read the news today, and help is on its way. For all the times that we have fallen, and the times we'll lose our way, makes us strong to go the distance and to face another day. Starts with courage and conviction, then your faith will light your way. So don't be afraid, it'll all work out for the better. We're all on this journey, on this thing we call life, and we all have but one chance to make it turn out right. So I'll be thankful for my blessings and thank God that I'm alive. Gonna hug my kids and take a deep breath, 'cause everything's gonna be alright. And the times we'll lose our way, that makes us strong to go the distance and to face another day. Starts with courage and conviction, then your faith will light your way. So don't be afraid, it'll all work out for the better. And the only regret is the time that it took me to know. 'Cause I've wasted so much in the chase of the prize that the value is starting to show. And it pales in the light, and I see that it's time now to go. Now I know nothing good can come of this, so I hold it all inside. Now I understand what's wrong. It's been going on too long. Even the good can break a heart, even the strong can fall apart, even the only a fool will try to struggle with the heart. The risk of defacing the past, I look back and I see how it all came to be. How I almost drowned in the pity that deepens the sea. I can almost remember the cut of the smile. I can almost remember the name. But I'm trying so hard not to repeat the cause of the blame. I'm so tired of wishing for happiness. I'm so tired of hoping for love. Now I understand what's wrong. I've been on the run so long. Even the good can break a heart. Even the strong can fall apart. Even the best can fail. Struggles with the heart. Even the strongest hope can die. Even your love can say goodbye. But only a fool will try to struggle with the heart. Oh, live and learn. Do not apply when there's no heart left to break. And the only lesson learned is the mistake. Now I'm tired of guessing which road that I should take. So I'm gonna make a choice that I never thought I'd make. With a wave of my hand and a look to the sky, I decide which direction I'll go. 'Cause for too many years now I've asked myself why. But now I don't wanna know. Even the good can break a heart. Even the strong can fall apart. Even the best can fail. It struggles with the heart. Even the best can fail.
Struggles with a Heart here on Music on the Menu on the River by Dakota, a song written by Rick Manwiller. Before that, Jerry Hludzik, a solo track from Jerry, a tune called All the Better, and that goes back to his record that he put out back in 2009 called Just Letting It All Go. We're dedicating the entire program here tonight to Jerry and his music, and we have on the phone right now, calling in from Nashville, his longtime friend, his longtime musical collaborator and partner, the great Bill Kelly. Bill, thank you so much for calling in. It's a pleasure to talk to you tonight.
Alan, thank you so much. I get the feeling I should say howdy y'all or something like that. I've only been here 25 years, and it's just kind of funny to say, hey, you got a twang, boy. What's going on? You know?
Has Nashville rubbed off on you a little bit, Bill? A little bit? Do you slide into it once in a while?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Absolutely. I hate it sometimes, but it's also, what are you going to do when you're around it 25 years? It's bound.
It's a long time, yeah.
Yeah.
So, Bill, you're going to be coming back up here to Wilkes-Barre, to northeastern Pennsylvania, on Thursday night to perform at the benefit for your friend. And we've already talked before in the opening segment about how Jerry's having some issues, and we've laid out all the details of the benefits and who's playing and all that. So, what I wanted to do with you is really talk to you about your relationship with Jerry. I mean, it goes back now 45, 50 years, right? I mean, when did you guys meet?
We met, and I love this part of the story because it's something that he and I, in our weekly phone calls, we drop back to those years and we kind of relive them a little bit. And it was a wonderful time. 1970, I guess, is around when we met. I was
48
dating
years.
somebody. 48 years, yeah.
Yeah.
I was dating somebody who became my first wife, actually. I was dating her she was going to LCC.
Okay.
And I I was going to King's.
All right.
And
good man. Me
I
too.
would walk. Yeah, I would. I would walk down to LCC to have lunch, and there's this guy sitting on the steps. And every time I'd walk in, he'd say, "Man, you want to buy something?" No, I don't want to. I don't want to buy anything. I don't. It was Jerry. He was sitting there every day, basically, hawking some of his equipment because he wanted to make some money so that he can go to Florida. He was going to audition for a band down in Florida, but he didn't have enough money. So he was trying to raise some money to do that. But he knew my girlfriend, and she told him that we were getting ready to look for a new bass player. Kind of three of the guys had left the Buoys, or they were about to leave the Buoys, and we were going to need to replace them. So he went out and he got all the music that we did. He went to see us play several times, so he knew the set list. And he learned all these things and learned them real well. And of course, he has a great voice. And he came to audition and almost didn't make it. Hit a deer and crashed his car on the way to the audition. But he got there, and we played through maybe a dozen songs. And we took a break, and we ran outside. It was in the wintertime. We ran outside and just had this impromptu meeting. And I'll never forget Chris, our drummer, Chris Hanlon, with the sticks in his hand going, "He's great! He's great! He's great! We got to get him! We got to get him!" And that's it. We said, we want you. And at the same time, Carl Syracuse, who had been playing with the El Caminos and Glass Prism, we called on him. We'd always had good friendship with him. And we said, "Why don't you come down?" And he did, and it worked. And boom! All of a sudden, there was a new version of the Buoys, and it was like it was like something was waiting for this group of guys to get together, because Timothy had already been out. Timothy had already been out, had his time, and was gone, and did not make it on a national scope. But as soon as these five guys get together, all of a sudden, within just a few months, Timothy broke out of Washington, D.C. and Buffalo, New York, and boom, the gates were wide open, and this new version of the Buoys went on the road and made the album. And that's when Jerry and I really became songwriting partners. In the creative realm, there's a chemistry. You could sit down with a great songwriter and not click, and nothing happened. And you could turn around with somebody who's never written a song, and all of a sudden they've got this weird way of looking at things, and all of a sudden, boom, boom, things come to mind, and all of a sudden you're writing great songs. He and I clicked from the minute we sat down to write a song. We just everything. We just thought the same way, just different enough to add a different slant here and there, and we understood each other's voices, so we knew how to try to make our choruses make the most out of our harmony when we sang together. And that's how our writing relationship really got started. So it was the early 70s, out there on the road, promoting Timothy.
You know what I love about the story, Bill? You know what I love about the story that you just told, because it's so Jerry. And, I obviously don't know him nearly as well as you do, but I've interviewed him several times and spent time with him. And, been playing it. He's a very thorough. He's so thorough. And so when you tell him, when you tell him you're looking.
Excuse me. He is not thorough. He's a pain in the butt. Let me correct you.
Well, you know what I mean? I mean, when you tell Jerry that you have an opening in the Buoys, what does Jerry do? He goes, gets every record that you have. He comes out and sees you in concert. He studies your set list, and he comes in and he just hits it out of the park. I mean, he wasn't going to be a guy that if he had an opportunity to join a good band was going to come in and wing it. That was not Jerry. And I love that about that part of the story that you just told. Let's play one going back to 1984 now. This is from Dakota. This one's called Runaway.
I can see that you're running faster, running from some kind of disaster in your heart. run to? Where you gonna hide? Baby, your mama and daddy don't know you, while everybody's trying to show you why you're wrong. So you're packing your bags and leaving. You're thinking someday you'll get even with them all. Then you're out on your own for the first time. You're looking back for the last time. How do you feel? Where you gonna run to? Where you gonna hide? What do you do just to keep you alive? Where you going to, my runaway? Where you gonna run to? Where you gonna run and hide? Will you find the answers? Run away in the dark of the night when there's no one to hold your hand. Out in the streets, all alone and feeling just like you're never going home. And it makes you stop remembering who you are and where you've been, my friend. Then you watch your sweet talking Johnny dance, give you the world just to get in your pants. You think he's in love. Where you gonna run to? Where you gonna hide? What do you do just to keep you alive? Where you going to, my runaway? Where you gonna run to? Where you gonna run and hide? Will you find the answers? Run away in the dark of the night when no one will hold your hand. Where you going to, my runaway? Where you gonna run to? Where you gonna run and hide? Will you find the answers? Run away in the dark of the night when there's no one to hold your hand.
Well, it's not in the name, and it's not in the face you see. Just part of this game, just part of my misery. I bought a ticket for the real thing, and how
never ending. And all I know is when she cries, I bleed. It's all so unreal. Maybe something Lennon used to feel. It's far, far too unreal. There's nothing better left for me to steal. Was I moving too fast? Was it all a mistake? Did I treat her like glass? Did I hope she would break? Did I hope she would break these walls I'm building? How am I to know she still needs me? This lonely rain just keeps on falling down. She's crying again when she cries. Bleed. It's all so unreal. Maybe something Lennon used to feel. It's far, far too unreal. There's nothing better left for me to steal. It's all so unreal. Maybe just like heaven used to feel. Far, far too unreal. Nothing better left for me to steal. It's all so unreal. Maybe something Lennon used to feel. It's far, far too unreal. Nothing better left for me to steal.
Mere Mortals here on Music on the Menu on the River with a song called Unreal. I wanted to play that one tonight because that was produced by Jerry Hludzik, one of the great records to ever come out here in northeastern Pennsylvania back in 1999. And Jerry produced that at SI in Scranton. So his footprints a lot all over music here in northeastern Pennsylvania in other ways besides Dakota and the Buoys, of course. And before that, we heard Dakota with a very well-known song called Runaway. We've got Bill Kelly on the phone here from Nashville. He talked to last segment about how he had met Jerry and how he came to be a member of the band, the Buoys, and of course later they went on to form Dakota. I had told the story here on the show about 2 months ago when this benefit was first announced of Jerry calling me up about 2 years ago when he was in town and just wanted to hang out for a beer. And I said, Jerry Hludzik calls and asks you if you want to hang out for a beer. You go and you have a beer with Jerry. And we had such a great time here at the casino that night talking about music. He had given me a copy of your new record, the Long Road Home record. And we just had a great time talking about, you know, his career, talking about the Eagles. Glenn Frey had recently passed at the time, so somehow we got into a long talk about the Eagles. And, of course, we talked about Queen and you guys being on the road with them and playing at Madison Square Garden. So my memories of Jerry are really talking about music. You know, I remember he came down to the Times Leader once for an interview, and we must have talked for 2 hours. It was a very long conversation about music. What I want to ask you, Bill, though, is all those years on the road with him, all those hours in the recording studio, you know, doing things like Queen on the Game tour. What's your favorite memory or two of Jerry?
That's not fair.
That you can say on the radio anyway.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's hard to say one or two. You know, there's such a we still have such a tight friendship. You know, it's very trite to say, "Oh, he's my brother," but he really is. We have been through so much together. The rise that Dakota had, the Queen tour, you know, as you met Chicago, the guys in Chicago. I mean, we were a team. You know, and I think the other guys that worked with us recognized that there was something between the two of us, a great connection, that it was wise to pay attention to it and be part of something that was going to be good. You know, and I told him, when we weren't talking to one another and we were having an out, we fought like cats and dogs sometimes.
I want to ask you about that because he told me a funny story about that. I think it may have been that night we were hanging out here up at the casino 2 years ago. He really wanted it to work with you again, and you were not sure if that's what you wanted to do. He basically told me.
I was very sure that that's not what I wanted.
I was trying to be nice. I know you didn't. So he basically tells me that he shows up at your house. He basically gets on a plane and goes to Nashville, basically knocks on your door and says, "I'm not leaving until we start." Well, and he said you guys got out the guitars and started working on a tune that day. I mean, that might be a shorter version of the story, but is something like that actually what happened and how you guys got working together again?
Well, it is. You know, we had pretty much agreed that we wouldn't hate each other anymore, but we really didn't want anything to do with one another. So we broke. It was a divorce when we split. Man, it was ugly. If you ever watch that clip of WVIA doing the last show at Montage,
I've seen it.
I mean, we looked like we couldn't talk to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Watch the interview afterward. I mean, Jerry and Rick were on one side of the room. I was on another. It was like, "Don't come near me. I'm going to hit you."
Yeah.
I mean, we wanted nothing to do with it. We was finally over. We were gone. And that went on for almost another 17 years when Jim Delacroce from Pathfinder Management, who I worked for here in Nashville, called me on the phone. He said, "I want you to meet me down at Longhorn in Nashville tonight for dinner." I said, "Okay." So I go down, and who's sitting with him but Jerry and Annie, his fiance? And I'm like, "You sandbag. What are you doing?" We had a great dinner. We really had a good, kiss and make up thing. You know, it was really good. But then some time lingered, and I called him on the phone one day, and I said, "If we were as good, if what we did together was as good as people say it was, what are we doing?" You know, because we weren't doing anything. So he came down. He flew down, and yes, he flew down. We put him up, and the next morning around, I don't know, 5:30 was his time. 5:30, he's in my studio, and my studio is right below my master bedroom. And my wife turns to me and she said, "Is he always like this?" He's downstairs playing music at 5:30 in the morning. And I said, "I'm afraid so." So I got up and I get down there, and this is the first time after 17 years that we sang and played together, and we did Dear Love from the Jerry Kelly album, and it sounded as good as it did the very first time we recorded it, and we looked at each other, and it was like tears. And it was like, "Let's do this, man."
The spark was there and magic was there.
It never left. We just were ducking it, you know? We were just...
You put it on mothballs for 17 years, right?
Yeah. No, it's pride. It was stupid stuff. It always is, you know, and ego, and we were able to put it behind us and step out and get it back on track again, and I'm so grateful that we did.
Let's play another one. This is from that last record that you guys did together, just going back a couple of years ago. This is Dakota, a song called Push. Dakota here on Music on the Menu on the River with a song called Push. Talked a little earlier in the show about Mere Mortals and Unreal and how Jerry had been involved in producing that great record. And another one that, you know, we were going to play tonight, but we were a little short on time, is, of course, Where Are You Now from Jimmy Harnon, which was produced by basically the guys in Dakota, you know, Rick Manueller and the late Rick Manueller was so talented, and Bill Kelly and Jerry. And so that song went all the way to the top 10 in 1989. And so, again, when you talk about footprints and you talk about a legacy of music, you know, a huge hit from a national artist, Jerry and yourself were involved with as well. Bill, one of the things I want to ask you, because you're closest with the situation, you know, we know why we're doing the benefit, and we talked a little bit about it at the top of the show. When I hung out here with Jerry 2 years ago at the casino, he told me he was starting to experience some memory loss and that they were doing some tests on him. And he didn't know what was going on at the time. But obviously 2 years down the road now, things have taken a turn. How's he doing? What, you know?
Well, you know, he has good days and bad days, and then he has days that are good and bad. You know, it's just there's no rhyme or reason to it. Excuse me. He forgets what we talked about yesterday, but I can call him on the phone because I'm writing a book and I rely on his memory. Excuse me, which is kind of crazy, but I rely on his memory for those things in the 70s and the 80s that I've forgotten. You know, I'll call and say, hey, you know, we did this gig here. Who put that on? Who did we play that gig with? And he's like, oh yeah, that was with this boom, 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 boom. Mm-hmm. Oh, what, do you remember? You know, do you remember the time I got into the fist fight with the drummer from Seeger? Yeah. Do you believe that, you guys? And he knows the whole story, remembers the whole thing, and yet, you know, if we have a conversation today, he won't remember that we talked if I call him tomorrow.
But he's going to try to perform at the show on Thursday. He's going to get up there and give it a whirl.
Oh, he is. Yeah. He is. We're going to do. I'm going to get just going to be an unplugged thing. And we're Louis will be there. Louis Casa, of course, of Dakota. John Lawrence, our great guitar player, and Eli, Jerry's son, and myself. And we'll do several songs. And Jerry, we're just creating that space, that place where Jerry can get in there and work as freely as he can.
Great.
You know, just kind of let him do what he can do, and enjoy that moment, because that's really what we want for him, to be able to enjoy that moment again. I want to see that face smile again, and watch him do what he loves to do. He was born to do this, you know, and to be able to be his partner for 48 years doing this together is pretty humbling from my perspective, that's for sure.
Well, Bill, I really appreciate you taking the time to call in tonight. You know, we're gonna, we'll be talking about the show all week here on the River, and I'll be there Thursday, so it'll be great to see you. I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah.
And, we'll make it a fun night. We will. And again, I can't thank you enough. It's always an honor to talk to you. You're one of the legends here in northeastern Pennsylvania with music, and I look forward to seeing you Thursday night.
Well, I look forward to you coming to Nashville, where I can buy you a nice Corona, and we'll sit back and we'll talk music here.
You got a deal. Here's another one from Dakota. This one's called Long Road Home.
Take care.
Let's go see when it's all
I say, hold my hand, and I'll take you there, where the skies are blue, where the wind blows through your hair. Now I see what your love has done for me. Now I know that I'm a better man, just because you love me. And all of a sudden, it just seems so clear to me that you are my answer. With you forever is where my heart says I should be. Then I say, hold my hand, and I'll take you there, where the skies are blue, where the wind blows through your hair. Now I see what your love has done for me. Now I know that I'm a better man, just because you love me. There's some that say the time or place one will never know, when love will come knocking at your door. Make sure when you answer, it's what you want, it's what you need. She's the light that you've been looking for. It's early morning, the summer sun begins today. You right here beside me, wouldn't have had it any other way. Then I say, hold my hand, and I'll take you there, where the skies are so blue, where the wind blows through your hair. Now I see what your love has done for me. Now I know that I'm a better man, just because you love me. Till the day I die, I'll be a better man, just because you love me.
Every
Dakota here on Music on the Menu on the River, a song called If It Takes All Night. Before that, solo tune from Jerry Hludzik, a song called Better Man. Before that, Dakota with a song called Long Road Home. We dedicated the entire program tonight to the Jammin' for Jerry coming up on Thursday. Michelle Riley hanging out with us for the whole hour. Bill Kelly popping in the middle of the show for quite a bit. Michelle, remind everybody again the details of this big event coming up on Thursday.
Yeah, thanks so much, Alan. So this is Thursday, April 26th at Genetti's in Wilkes-Barre. The doors are going to open at 7 p.m. We will have a meet and greet until 7:45, and then the magic begins with the Idle Kings, Strawberry Jam, members from Stonebridge, Archangel, Flaxie Morgan, Dakota, the Buoys, Daddy-O and the Sax Maniacs, legendary drummer, Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Danny Serafin from Chicago. Quite a lineup. It's $15 in advance and $20 at the door.
Those advance tickets, you get them online, right?
Yeah, www.genetti.com. You're going to go to the events on their page, and you'll be able to get the advance ticket sales.
Terrific. Michelle, I know you put a lot of hard work into this. I know that music's a big, important part of your life. And as someone who knows Jerry, I want to thank you for your work.
Oh, I appreciate
putting this
that.
all together.
This is just right from the heart. And all of these performers that are coming in are doing this, again, out of their goodness of their heart. And it's just going to be a huge love fest.
Yes,
Seriously.
I think it will be. And,
Yeah.
and Jerry deserves it. So
Great.
it'll be a real special night in Wilkes-Barre on Thursday. Genetti's, we hope to see you there again for Jammin' for Jerry. Michelle, thanks again for coming in.
Thank you, Alan. Appreciate it.
There's really only one song we could have closed this show with tonight. This is a top 20 hit. It was interesting. It actually debuted on the top 40.
I got a story to tell you. Bill Kelly taught me how to play Timothy on the side of a stage one night after a show, and he was handing me his guitar. It was an incomplete pass. Big nick in the guitar, so I am the niche in the guitar.
But the fact that you played Timothy with Bill Kelly.
I did, yeah.
April 17th, actually. It was actually this week in 1971 that this song cracked into the top 40. Stayed there for about 8 weeks and went all the way up to number 17. Top 20 hit from the Buoys. We'll see you Thursday night at Genetti's.